Everyone has moments in life they can't just stop thinking about. They can be embarrassing things, like that one time you face planted in front of a group of teenagers, or something amazing like the first time you hosted your family for the holidays. And on Baby, This is Keke Palmer, hosted by me, Keke Palmer, and presented by BMW, we know to savor the good memories and let go of the bad. And one thing everyone remembers fondly is their first time behind the wheel of a BMW. So come join me and BMW this summer as we explore pop culture moments and topics you just can't stop thinking about on Baby, This is Keke Palmer, sponsored by BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
As a person with a very deep voice, I'm hired all the time for advertising campaigns. But a deep voice doesn't sell B2B, and advertising on the wrong platform doesn't sell B2B either. That's why if you're a B2B marketer, you should use LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn has the targeting capabilities to help you reach the world's largest professional audience. That's right, over 70 million decision makers all in one place. All the big wigs, then medium wigs, also small wigs who are on the path to becoming big wigs. Okay, that's enough about wigs. LinkedIn ads allows you to focus on getting your B2B message to the right people. So, does that mean you should use ads on LinkedIn instead of hiring me, the man with the deepest voice in the world? Yes. Yes, it does. Get started today and see why LinkedIn is the place to be to be. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is The Briefing Room? It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system.
If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served.
Hi, I'm Detective Dave.
I'm Detective Dan. Together, we have decades of experience in local law enforcement, a profession that we think is often misunderstood.
So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished.
From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th.
We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
And welcome back to Little Cuts, our weekly mini-sode where we dig into things that we've been watching recently. I'm Terry.
And I'm Mary Beth. This week we're talking more anime, a Tribeca film, and 3 babysitting nightmares.
Boy, I cannot wait to talk to you about these babysitting nightmares, but let's some of them are actually nightmares. Let's start it off though. I'm curious, you've been on an anime kick, so what did you watch recently?
I have been on an anime kick. So Steve and I are big anime fans. Steve watches a lot more anime than I do. But he watches a lot of Gundam, so I've only watched a couple episodes of Gundam stuff. But the one that I'm really excited about just came out on Netflix called Record of Ragnarok. Oh. It's about basically every, I think 1,000 years, the gods meet to decide if humans should stay, if Earth should stay around or if humans should be extinct.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So it's this time they decide, there's no redeeming these people. It's time to go. And the Valkyrie are no, we are going to invoke Ragnarok where 12 or 13 gods and 12 or 13 humans fight in a tournament to see if humanity gets to live or not. And so it's Adam versus Zeus, Poseidon versus the swordsman. And there's Jack the Ripper's in it as one of the champions.
A champion?
Yeah, one of the human champions.
And he's supposed to be why humanity should be redeemed?
I have not gotten there yet, so like we'll see because I just started it, but it's new on Netflix, and it's so ridiculous. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. Like the animation style is so over the top. Like every outfit is insane. Like in the stands, it's all of humanity and all of the gods. And there's like Michelangelo sitting and like painting and like making weird comments and like Beethoven and Mozart. God. It is so weird, but it is so fun. It is just like, it's basically like mythology meets fighting anime.
Sign me up. That is the wildest combination.
It's incredible. It is incredible. Yeah, like fights between a god and a human last like 3 or 4 episodes. And there's like,
seriously?
Oh yeah, like these like ridiculously long like multi-part fights. All of this intrigue between because like
so it's like a boss battle
in between the fights. There's like intercut with like gods and Valkyrie and humans that are watching, offering commentary. So you have like 2 gods. Oh god, the fuck! I think it's Ares and Hermes are like talking about what's going on, and then like Aphrodite, who's a woman with huge boobs, and there's like she has 2 guys that flank her, and they're each holding up a boob because they're so big.
Oh my gosh!
Wow. It's incredible. It is fucking incredible. So that is the big thing that I have been watching. I've been like really busy and tired. So I've just been watching a lot of stuff that is like kind of ridiculous, but really entertaining. And so I recommend it. It's the most anime to ever anime. And it's awesome. So if you're looking for something kind of silly to watch that is still like really cool and looks gorgeous, Record of Ragnarok.
I really like the animation. The pictures I'm looking at, like the art style is really kind of unique.
If anyone has seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, some of the characters kind of look like that. Not all of them. So there's a really interesting mix of animation styles and of like character design, which makes it even cooler because it's like every character looks so different. And it's like a really cool way that they designed it. And also like when they have like gods like Poseidon or Zeus, they don't look like what you think of when you think of those gods. So it's kind of cool that they have also like a different kind of spin on what gods look like. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. What was that called again?
Yeah, Record of Ragnarok. Streaming on Netflix.
Cool.
But what's this Tribeca film?
So I'm not covering Tribeca, but they were like, I realized that you could rent individual movies for like $15. So I looked through the list to see what I would want to watch, and I picked out 2. Okay. One I was like, I didn't really feel about, but this other one I actually kind of really enjoyed, and it's called See For Me.
What is see in what context?
Like, as in eyesight, like being able to see. And it is about a blind former skier named Sophie who is cat sitting in a secluded mansion when 3 thieves decide to invade for a hidden safe. And her only defense is this app that she downloads called See For Me, which connects her with a sighted person and then uses the phone's technology to see for the blind person. And so she gets connected with this former Army veteran named Kelly, and Kelly helps her defend against the invaders and survive.
That sounds wild. I have not heard anything about this movie.
And one thing I really like about it is one of the actors is named the person that plays the blind woman Sophie. Their name is Skylar Davenport, and they are visually impaired after a stroke in like early 2000s. So they have a visually impaired person playing a visually impaired person, which kudos for representation. Love that.
I absolutely love that. And look at that. It's not, I mean, obviously that exists. It's not like you're really trying that hard to find somebody who is both visually impaired and a performer. So,
well, and what I love about this is that Skylar Davenport, they've done a lot of, I think they've done anime and a lot of animated stuff because it's easy to do without, having to worry about sight. So it's probably one of the only jobs they were, getting probably, but a lot of they did the voice for in one of the characters in the Final Fantasy VII remake. They've done some video games. They did Welcome to Demon School. They've done a bunch of anime and a bunch of like video games. It looks like Berserk. They were in.
They were in Madoka Magica. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was decent. I mean, it's very high concept. It's some of it was a little slow, I'll be honest, but overall, I thought it was an effective little thriller, and I really kind of enjoyed the conceit behind it. Skylar turns out a fantastic performance, and so did the person that they're connected with, Kelly, played by Jessica Parker Kennedy, and they had really good charisma and connectedness, even through the fact that they're separated by technology, and I really dug it.
Cool.
I think it'll be a good film when it finally comes out for people to see. I think people will really relate to it.
Did you watch False Positive?
I did not.
Okay.
I know that's coming out to Hulu.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I know that it came out at Tribeca.
Yeah, no, the other movie I saw was We Need to Do Something, and it had Vanessa Shaw in it, who we saw recently in The Hills Have Eyes, and also, she was in Hocus Pocus.
Okay.
was not for me. But that's all that I watched outside of these three movies, and I don't know if you watched the second one, but I do want to definitely talk about the second one.
I did not watch the second one, but I want to hear about it.
So let's start with the beginning. What was the first movie we watched?
So we watched the original When a Stranger Calls from 1979, as well as the remake of When a Stranger Calls from 2006, which, holy shit, are really fucking different. Oh my God. So,
okay.
Wow.
What did you think? So I had seen this movie, the original one, once before, and I'll be honest, I totally didn't remember the middle section. I remember the beginning and I remember the
weird,
end.
like crime procedural in the middle.
Might be because the middle section isn't that good, but I'm curious what your thoughts are as a first time watch.
I was fucking freaked out because that guy is so
terrifying?
creepy. It was like Black Christmas vibes, like that kind of like really violating person. But this was even worse because like we followed him a lot, like as a character, and God, he said things like, "I want to like be covered in your blood," and like,
"I want your blood all over me."
Yeah, I want your blood all over me. Which like, I was just like, I'm not prepared. I also took an edible when I watched this movie. Don't do that. Bad idea. Don't do it, guys.
That was a bad idea.
I texted Terry and I was like, I made a mistake. But I don't think I was expecting it to be as disturbing and like upsetting as it was. Whew. I really enjoyed it. The middle, like you said, is kind of drags a little bit because it's all about like this cop, not even cop, a private investigator looking for the murderer who escaped from a hospital. And then you also focus on the killer, like roaming around the city. Did you think that they were trying to be sympathetic? Like, did you feel that there was like sympathy? Because I was like, I'm getting weird like sympathy vibes for this guy, and I don't like it because he killed 2 children and also like says really vulgar shit and stalks women.
Yeah, I thought the middle section was a little confused as to what it was wanting to do. Like, I think that the first act is it's a perfect 30 minutes. It is intense as fuck. The repeated refrain of like, "Have you checked the children?" and the way he says it so like dispassionately and without emotion. This part like really, even on this watch, like I was getting uncomfortable watching this movie, and I forgot because I like I said, I remember bits and pieces of this, and I was like, oh gosh, did the kids actually survive? No, he fucking kills the kids.
Like, they're not recognizable, and he did it all with his hands. And I was like,
with his hands.
Fuck.
And then we get to the middle section, and you're right. I do feel as if they were almost trying to sympathy for the devil, almost. And I'm like,
because it wasn't. like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer style. It was like, oh, look at him.
No.
Like, he's sleeping on the streets and he's homeless. And I'm like, he's stalking a
He
woman
wanted
and
to-
hiding in her closet. Oh my God, him hiding in her closet. I was like, nah. But something like this movie is incredible. I think there's like so many incredible and weird things about this movie. But I don't know if you noticed this. The parts where like people would walk out of frame and the camera would linger for like a second or two longer, like on a random plant. And I was like, this guy's fucking with us with this movie. And I'm obsessed. Like, this movie is such a fucking joke, like in a very purposeful way. And I was like, wait, is this movie really intelligent? Like, it's so
I think it
smart.
is.
It is incredibly smart. Like, and the performances are so bad, but like, it feels like it's on purpose. It's like he's almost like mocking that. It feels like he's mocking like that kind of like cop, private investigator narrative about him, this like old guy trying to be all cool and like somehow kill and like this guy and save the day.
Right. And I think it's interesting that the choice of that detective isn't what you would typically see a police detective be, because he's older, he's overweight, he's, so like it's not the typical bastion of manhood that like a lot of detective movies from this time period would have. He's not Charles Bronson going after, Death Wish type style stuff.
Yeah.
It's a man. Yes. So I do think that it is teasing with us a little bit, but I'll tell you what, that third act also just like out of nowhere ratchets up that tension again. And when she is in bed and she's trying to talk to her husband, hey, her husband.
It just like this movie, I was like, this feels like all of the urban legends you hear about babysitting, but they all started with this movie, it feels like. Because from 79, like you hear about, I feel like you always hear the urban legend, obviously, about like the guy in the bed who's not your husband, but you also hear, I feel like I've heard variations, like the creepy guy in the house, like in the kids' room ended up killing the kids and the babysitter didn't check on the kids. Like, it felt like all of those urban legends, but it feels like maybe it was one of those like big origin points for that kind of thing, because it was so early, like relatively early-ish, 79.
Well, because I know that that urban legend dates back to the 60s, and there's like, and I do think that I like when I was looking into this, a lot of people associate it with, I guess there was in the 1950s there was a murder of a teenage babysitter, Janet Christman, and that is commonly cited as the source of the legend. But I do think that there's like a lot of different variations on this. But yeah, this movie definitely encapsulates that. And I'll be honest, I do think that Scream's opening scene is riffing on this.
It is.
Because there's like a lot of little cues there.
Yes.
I do think that Scream is a direct reference to this film.
That's cool as fuck.
And Carol Kane.
Like the way that she has has really sexy bags under her eyes that are purple. I'm like, I love you. But then we are talking about this movie and like won't talk about the 2006, which is literally.
Before we get there,
okay.
let me toss out about When a Stranger Calls Back. So this is an interesting movie. So When a Stranger Calls came out in 1979. When a Stranger Calls Back came out in 1993. It was released to Showtime. It was a Showtime movie, but it brought back together the director, the cinematographer. I think it's a cinematographer, the composer, and Carol Kane, and the guy that played the police officer. So you have like a sequel to a movie that brings back the core cast, of the surviving cast, and the director and the composer for the film.
Oh shit!
14 years later, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, wow. 14. That's a big span of time.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And this movie is also really smart because first of all, it plays on the expectation of what we remember from the first film. There's a new babysitter who is played by Jill Sheolin. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she was kind of a scream queen of the 80s. She was in The Stepfather. She was in Cutting Class. She was in the Robert Englund version of Phantom of the Opera. She did a lot of movies in the 80s that were horror. Okay. And she is a babysitter watching over kids, and her phone rings and there's silence on the other line, and then she hears someone knocking on her front door. And the man on the front door is like, hey, my car broke down. Can I come in and use your phone? And she's like, no, just give me your number. And so it plays on this where instead of the phone call, it's someone that is incessantly knocking on her door and wants to come in. And then she starts walking around the house and things are moved in the house. While she goes back to try to call the number. She has this like piece of paper that she wrote the information down to call like car services. And that piece of paper is gone. And she's like flipping through her books, like not really kind of understanding what's happening. And just like in the original, this is the first act, but then we follow her as sort of like dealing with the PTSD. And at this point, it's when Carol Kane's Jill Johnson comes in, who of course has also survived a situation similar to this. And they try to work it out. And she ends up calling the same police officer to come back in and help. And so it's structured a little bit differently because we still follow her as well as Jill Johnson in that second act, as opposed to like following the killer. And the reveal of what the killer does made me gasp. This movie kind of freaked me out when I was watching it. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh fuck yeah! Did you gay gasp or like scared gasp?
I did. Listeners, you can't see what I just did, but it was definitely a gay gasp.
A gay gasp. Both hands held up to the mouth. Okay, I will watch that because it sounds incredible.
It was really good.
Which one do you like better, though? Hard.
I actually do think I like the first act and the third act of the original one better.
Okay.
I think because that one like really kind of got to me. Mm-hmm. But I think as like a cohesive whole, I do think the second one is actually better as a cohesive story.
Cool. Sweet.
And man, I'll tell you, there's a moment in there where I was like, what?
Yeah. Oh, I love that shit. Now, then we have the 2006 one.
Yeah.
It's literally the fucking 30 minutes of opening of the original stretched into a full-length movie. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. Other than the house is cool in that movie. I do remember being like obsessed. I was like, why am I not babysitting for people like that with a fucking courtyard and like humongous, like it's like it does not look like a home. Like that was like the biggest thing I remembered, especially like the creepy moments where she sees him through the giant windows. Anyway,
I want this house and the koi pond.
Right?
That koi pond.
Exactly.
I mean, for house like porn, that? This is the movie to watch.
Yes. Just watch it for the house. There's nothing else worth watching.
The scares, I'm sorry. Why are we going to cheap jump scares? I mean, we had a cat. We had, like, the sounds of the water splash. Like, None of the scares are real. None of them are warranted.
It's very much that, like, era. It's very much is, like, the embodiment of that era of, like, early aughts remakes that were released in theaters to make a lot of money and get people to the theater. Because, like, this is a movie I saw with, like, my friends in theaters. And, like, we went for, like, those cheap jump scares. And, like, we knew it was going to be great. But we knew we were going to get, like, lots of good scares in. So I feel like it definitely followed that kind of formula of those movies of, like, we don't care if it's a good scare. We want it to just, like, get a reaction.
Yeah. Well, they got a reaction out of me this time. It was an annoyance.
It was,
I took a lot of notes. A lot of notes. I was annoyed. Annoyed and notes. That's what it was. Annoyed. That's the word for it. I do have a couple comments. One, this was definitely one of the most early 2000s films because, Mary Beth, we need to keep this conversation short because I don't want to go over our minutes. We should have been recording this after 9 o'clock at night.
Oh my God. I just remember. Do you remember the minutes? Oh, I got in so much trouble all the time for going over my minutes and my text limit with my boyfriend.
I remember having to pay for text and having like, your phone bill was like X number of minutes, free minutes after 9, and X number of texts. And now it's like data.
Just like, do whatever the fuck you want. Also, she had a razor. Was it a pink razor? A pink razor?
I don't remember the color of it, but it was definitely, I was like, oh, this is bringing me back.
I think it was a pink razor. I had a pink razor, and I thought I was the fucking baddest bitch around. I had a pink razor. Could flip it open. Hello.
You could look at the front of it, see who's calling. Flip it open. Do your T9.
Oh my God. The T9! Oh my God, if I had to do T9 now, I'd be like...
One.
So ridiculous.
9.
We were so good at it, though.
I know.
So fast.
Thumbs just like flying over that keypad. Also, I swear that like Camilla Bell... Well, first of all, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to you. You might be a wonderful person, but you have no personality. Second of all, she looks like she's the love child of Tom Cruise. She looks like someone face mapped Tom Cruise's face onto a woman. It was really kind of distracting, and your door is opening, and it's creeping me out.
Wait.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the eyebrows, but like she looked like Tom Cruise.
She does look like Tom Cruise. Wow, Tessa Thompson's in this movie. Tommy Flanagan.
I mean, the cast.
Cast is pretty. Again, another thing from that era, like a stacked cast in a not so good horror movie.
Tessa Thompson,
right? Like, but it's so
underutilized.
Interesting that they took this intelligent, weird horror thriller crime drama and made this. Like, that was what they chose. Like, I understand like that beginning part is what like probably they thought would sell, but like you could have called... I feel like When a Stranger Calls as a 1979 movie didn't have as much like pull as like Halloween, so I feel like you could call it something different. And like, but I honestly also didn't know it was a remake for a very long time. I thought it was just like a 2006 original.
I mean, I think a lot of people did. I don't think, like you just said, I don't think this movie has the kind of clout that a lot of the films that were being remade of that time period had, for whatever reason. I was thinking about, because there was really nothing else to really pay attention to when I was watching this movie. I was actually thinking about how I would love to see a remake.
Holy shit, that was fucking shady.
Oh.
That was amazing. He just like dropped that. I was like, damn, Terry. Holy shit. Fuck.
I was really annoyed with this movie. But I was thinking about like how I think you could make a really interesting When a Stranger Calls like remake, where if you actually focused on, if you took the structure of the original and actually had like a really intense opening, and then you followed the character having to deal with the PTSD of surviving that. Like we never really see a lot of movies that deal with what happens to the final girl right after the moments of something traumatic happening. And when I was watching the original, because again, I hadn't remembered any part of that middle section, I was like, ooh, do we follow her? And are we going to follow and see like her dealing with the PTSD of that? And it kind of comes back at that third act in the original one. But like, that's the kind of thing I thought would be very interesting to explore. And so when you take that 30 minutes and you blow it up to an hour and a half, I mean,
like there's like, again, there's only it feels repetitive. It's like at that point, like, you know what I mean? Like there are some movies that do that very well, where it's like one that like The Strangers or like Hush. This one doesn't do it very well. It's boring.
No.
The house
well, and
is
I think that's the problem with. I mean, it's not a problem, but I think that is the problem of dealing with the fact that this isn't someone that is like showing up at your window. This isn't someone that you're supposed to see and be like a physical presence. It's just supposed to be that what if, where is this phone call coming from? And so I don't think this movie is able to carry that suspense for 90 minutes of like where is this dude?
Yeah, I agree. Watch the original one. You don't need to watch the remake.
Followed up with the sequel.
Yeah, exactly. Watch those two. When a Stranger Calls. Stinky.
Now, there were like two little small, nice callbacks to the original. The one where she hears the noise and it's the ice machine.
Oh yeah,
and then
that
where she
has
takes the
happened to
frozen
me.
popsicle.
That fucking ice machine thing has happened to me so many goddamn times in real life. Fuck ice machines.
Has it really?
There's motherfuckers who have no right to be that loud and that scary sounding. Anyway, the popsicle.
Yeah.
Was it a popsicle
those
or a
are-
lollipop in the original?
It was a fudge pop.
Did
in
they
the
ever
original
explain?
because
hold
like
on,
it was
did they
that chocolate.
Did they explain where that? I mean, obviously, like we know where it came from, but did they ever like that part? Anyway, just creepily having like a fucking popsicle, like what?
Well, you see the ice machine, and it's like there. It's like ooh, snacks, right?
Sure. Yeah, fucking sure. Whatever. Ugh. Ow. Okay, sorry, my elbow. I, like stretched my elbow and I was like, ugh. Anyway, so that does it about this, I lost control of the sentence and now I will start over. That does it for this week's Little Cuts. But before we wrap up, Terry, who are we talking to on Monday?
Ooh, we are talking with writer, director, actor, multi-hyphenate Josh Rubin, who has the new movie that is out in theaters. Well, the day this episode goes live, Werewolves Within, and then it will also be on VOD next week. So we're kind of putting the episode in between so that you can either go see it in the movie theater if you're able to and vaccinated.
Please
be vaccinated.
and wear your mask.
Or you can watch it on VOD the next week. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're talking Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah, wow. It was fun.
What a movie.
What a movie. But also, yeah, Werewolves Within. It's really fun, y'all. So you're gonna.
It's so good.
Probably one of the best horror films of the year so far.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think it's up there, and it's also hilarious.
It is hilarious.
And smart. So, but who are we? Okay, so my sentence just got away from me too.
Yay!
All right. So who? Oh God, damn it! Who? No, Terry. No, who? So what are we watching for next, Little Cuts, Mary Beth, as we continue our Aughts remakes?
So we are going to be watching the Amityville Horror, aka Abs the movie, aka Ryan Reynolds Makes Me Feel Things when I see photos from that film. I've heard that I have not seen this one. I've seen the original. I have heard people say that this is better than the original.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't seen this since the movie theater.
Okay.
So I'm curious to like watch it again. But yeah, I mean, I don't think the original is that great, to be perfectly honest. So
yeah,
this is one of those cases where I think, you know, you take a property that might not have been so great and you remake it, and then you make it wonderful.
Cool.
Hopefully, if I remember correctly.
Sweet. I mean, you have to look at Ryan
We'll
Reynolds, like soaking wet Ryan Reynolds.
Just like so cut Ryan Reynolds.
Anyway.
We had a moment there.
We had a moment. We're back. Anyway, listeners, you've heard from us. We want to hear from you. How do you feel about soaking wet Ryan Reynolds? Did you watch?
There is a right answer and a wrong answer to that.
Did you? Did you watch a film that we watched this week and have thoughts? Do you have suggestions for movies for us to watch? Send us an email at scarredforlifepodcast@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us directly on Twitter. I am at MB McAndrews.
And I'm a Gaily Dreadful.
And of course, don't forget to follow the podcast on Twitter at Scarred Podcast.
And please don't forget to review, rate, and subscribe.
Oh, and Fright Gown is this weekend. So,
Yeah.
you know, if you have time, buy a pass, go to Fright Gown. It's a great queer little horror festival put on by friends of the show, Joe Lipsett and Kay from the Salem Horror Fest.
And if you get the VIP, I believe it's just the VIP. If you get the VIP, you get a special issue of Grimm Magazine that has both of us in it.
Yay! I wrote about Dracula and gender fluidity.
I wrote about queer rock and Nightbreed.
So, do it. Anyway, just wanted to plug.
And it's all going to support the Transgender Law Center.
Yeah. So, amazing panels.
Get something for you.
Great shorts.
Get something for someone else.
Exactly. So, highly encourage to attend that. But anyway, thank you everyone for listening. Please stay safe out there, but most importantly, stay creepy.
And until next time.
Won't somebody please think of the children? Won't somebody please think of the children?
When you pick up some scratches, cause you want a fun break, the playful way you scratch is the next choice you should make. You can make your dog's leg kick and scratch with that. You could even grab a laser pointer and use your cat. You can build yourself a homemade scratching machine, or use a piece from your chess set. Go ahead, grab the queen. Scratch like a DJ with your record player. A cactus could scratch off that scratchable layer. Cause when it comes to scratching, there's a million playful ways. Thanks to scratchers from the California Lottery, a little play can make your day.
Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.
As a person with a very deep voice, I'm hired all the time for advertising campaigns. But a deep voice doesn't sell B2B, and advertising on the wrong platform doesn't sell B2B either. That's why if you're a B2B marketer, you should use LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn has the targeting capabilities to help you reach the world's largest professional audience. That's right, over 70 million decision makers all in one place. All the big wigs, then medium wigs. Also small wigs who are on the path to becoming big wigs. Okay, that's enough about wigs. LinkedIn ads allows you to focus on getting your B2B message to the right people. So, does that mean you should use ads on LinkedIn instead of hiring me, the man with the deepest voice in the world? Yes. Yes, it does. Get started today and see why LinkedIn is the place to be to be. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is The Briefing Room?
It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system.
If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served.
Hi, I'm Detective Dave.
I'm Detective Dan. Together, we have decades of experience in local law enforcement, a profession that we think is often misunderstood.
So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished.
From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th. We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.